Jesus says, "Lo, I stand at the door and knock." Jesus is knocking on the door of your heart today.
It follows in the original text as explanative of it. Rule thou in the midst of thine enemies, Psalm 110:2. And so the apostle interprets it in 1 Corinthians 15:25. Now, this government and dominion is not to be understood of what is natural to Christ and common to him with the other two divine persons. The kingdom of nature and providence equally belongs to him, as to his divine Father, of whom he says, "My Father worketh hitherto, and I work." He works jointly with them, having the same power, operation, and influence in all things he has. But this means his mediatorial kingdom and government, which dominion, glory, and kingdom were given to him and received from the Ancient of Days. This is a delegated kingdom, for the administration of which he is accountable to his Father. He will deliver it up to him when completed. In respect of this, he may be said to sit at the right hand of God, and to be next unto him in power and authority, yet superior to all created beings of the highest form and of the greatest name, which are all subject to him, Ephesians 1:20 and 21. Thirdly, sitting at the right hand of God supposes Christ has done his work, and that to satisfaction and with acceptance, as the work of redemption which was given him, and he undertook, came to work out, and is finished, upon which he entered in once into the holy place, that is, into heaven, and the work of making atonement for sin, reconciliation for iniquity, full satisfaction for it, which was cut out in council and covenant for him, and he agreed to do it. Having done it, he sat down on the right hand of God, and the work of bringing in an everlasting righteousness for the justification of his people, this he engaged to do. And for this end he came into the world. He has become the end or purpose of the law for righteousness to everyone that believes, and being raised from the dead for our justification and gone to heaven. He is at the right hand of God, which the apostle observes for the strengthening of his own faith and the faith of others with respect to their full acquittance, complete justification before God. All which and more he has done with acceptance. God is well pleased with his righteousness, because the law is by it magnified and made honorable. His sacrifice is of a sweet-smelling savor to God, all being done that he agreed to do to entire satisfaction. He was received up into heaven with a welcome, and as a token of it, placed at God's right hand. Fourthly, sitting at God's right hand supposes ease and rest from labor. For Christ, upon his resurrection and ascension to heaven, came into the presence of God, in whose presence is fullness of joy, and at whose right hand are pleasures for evermore. When he was made glad with the light of his countenance, and when, having entered his rest, he ceased from his works, as God did from his at creation. Not that Christ ceased to act for his people in heaven, when he sat down at the right hand of God, for he passed into the heavens for them, for their service and good. He entered as the forerunner for them, and appears in the presence of God for them, and as their high priest, transacts all affairs for them, and ever lives to make intercession for them. But he ceases now from his toilsome and laborious work, for though it was his Father's business, which he voluntarily engaged in, and it was his meat and drink to do, it was very fatiguing, and not merely in going about continually to do good to the bodies and souls of men, but in the labor and travail of his soul when he bore the wrath of God and endured the curse of the law in his sufferings and death.